Good afternoon and welcome to this month's SnapTech IT webinar for June 2024. My name is Ted Hulsey. I'm Chief Revenue Officer for SnapTech IT and your host for today's event. Thanks for joining in for the live session. This webinar will be recorded and circulated to all registrants. You can always visit us on our YouTube channel for all of our content on demand. Today's topic is how to master AI image creation to unlock powerful storytelling and business productivity. Today I'm joined by SnapTech Marketing Manager, Nathan Caldwell. Nathan, thanks for joining in for the webinar.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks so much, Ted.
All right. Well, one thing we try to do is spend just about 45 seconds explaining who SnapTech is in case you don't know who we are. We are a security-first managed IT provider with operations in Atlanta, Georgia, Phoenix, Arizona, and San Francisco, California. You know, our philosophy around technology is that technology should solve problems, not create them. And I think what we see with either prospective new clients or organizations that we meet is that technology is also often a huge headache, causing downtime or frustrations for your people. And our mission in life is to help technology to be an enabler for growth and productivity in your workplace. And we do that by delivering IT service and support and consulting and advice to our clients, and we leverage a proven process to unlock business productivity, peace of mind, and a really robust cybersecurity posture for our clients. We do it in two different ways. For smaller organizations that don't have an IT manager or an IT department, we deliver what we call fully managed IT. We're the one throat to choke in this sort of scenario. And then for larger organizations that might have a single IT manager or an IT director or department, we deliver what's called co-managed IT. So those are the two different ways we serve our clients. With that, what I want to do is just to give you kind of an overview of today's agenda. It's going to be very demo focused. So hopefully that's great. Hopefully that you appreciate that. Nathan and I are both going to be out here on thin ice doing live demos of AI technology. So wish us luck. But we'll have a handful of slides just to give some context around things, but then be very demo focused. And please use the Q&A feature in GoToWebinar to ask us your questions in real time, and we'll try to address them on the fly. But with that, I'm going to hand the ball over to Nathan and make you the presenter and let you take it from here before I jump back in for my demo in a little bit.
Yeah, thanks so much. So Ted, I appreciate that you're doing the demo with me. As it goes with live demos, it's always fantastic to have additional experts in the room to take some of the playtime out of it as well. So I'll be doing a couple of demos. We'll pass it over to Ted for another one and then come back to me for the final one. But the first thing that we're going to cover is actually addressing why visual content is so important. A lot of people may think like, oh, it's a nice to have. Yeah, like I'd love to spruce up my PowerPoint presentations or add images to our website, or when I lead a meeting, it'd be nice to have some visual images that go along with what I'm presenting. But it's actually much more than that. It's very impactful. So we're going to actually look at some stats on how people learn, how people retain information, and the impact that upping your visual content game, whether it's in static images or with video, and I'll show you a demo of that later on, how that can actually improve your communication skills. It can improve how influential you are at convincing people to go with the pitch or the presentation you're making. And also it helps people retain the information that you provide to them, which oftentimes is the goal of presenting. It's to educate the people that are with you, that are in your audience, and so it can be a more impactful and lasting message with them. So we'll take a look at a few stats around that. And then when we get into the demos, we're looking at a few tools today. Now, this doesn't mean that we're trying to say like, hey, these are the be all and end all for visual content creation in the AI game. But we just chose some to demonstrate to you about what the capabilities are out there to give you possibly some comfort level as you start to explore for yourself how you want to dip your toe into the waters or get even more comfortable. As some people said in the survey, hey, you're already doing some of this. Well, maybe these are demos or AI tools that you haven't yet looked at that could expand your horizon on what is out there and what's capable of. Now, I also want to put the caveat out there that we have not been endorsed by these AI tools. Ted and I aren't getting like a huge fat check for showing these to you. And so they're just us being users of these tools and wanting to share our love of technology and what we're getting out of it. And so this is meant to be just a very friendly conversation with you, our audience, and show you a little bit about how we're using these tools. And hopefully you walk away with a little bit more understanding of how you could probably use these or even explore some other tools that are out there. So is that fair enough? That's what we're covering. Let's get right into it. So I wanted to start with just a single stat. And according to brain rules, people retain 65% of the information 3 days later when paired with a relevant image compared to 10% without an image. Now you might be thinking, Nathan, why in the world are you sharing this stat in an AI image related presentation and you didn't include an image? Well, I did that on purpose because I want to show you what this slide looks like without an image versus going in and adding an image. Like this stat talks about how it can help people with retention 3 days later. And so 65% retention when you have visual content that's related to the point you're making. This is much easier for you to see, to ingest, and then later recall, like, oh yeah, it was significantly retained better if an image was there than without. That's much easier than me just putting up this text and saying like, hey, try to remember these numbers, try to paint the image inside your brain at what a different 65% is compared to 10%. And instead, we get the visual content in there in order to impact an audience more. And so I just wanted to illustrate that you know, it is much more impactful. It does help people retain this information longer. And so it makes you a more effective communicator. It also elevates you in the mind of your audience because you're doing these great tactics at communicating well with your audience. Well, it also, by adding images to your content creation skill set, you're also in communicating with your audience, even, and these are some stats with social media, it engages with an audience better. When you take a look at the results, that if you have image content added, you're going to get 53% more likes, you're going to get 104% more comments, and then the likelihood of people sharing that content is 40x. And this is according to some research with HubSpot, and this was with B2C and B2B Facebook statuses with images, and then also with Sproutworth, they were just looking at visual content in general on social media. And so we know this is the case. We know that as we're scrolling through social media, the posts that have images are more likely to cause us to stop, more likely to cause us to engage. It stands out better, but this is the math. These are the stats behind it. So adding image content creation to your skill set will also improve your communication over social media with your audience. And then also when it comes to convincing people, a lot of times when we're presenting, we're making an argument for what we believe in or what we're presenting. And this doesn't have to be in convincing customers or prospects to buy what you're selling. It could also be internally in your organization where you're trying to compel your coworkers or people across other teams to buy into the plan or the idea that you have. And so by including image content, you're actually able to convince people at a rate of about 67%, whereas with text only or without visual content added at only a rate of about 50%. And so it's really 2/3 versus 1/2. And so it's definitely a powerful skill set to be adding. And so that's where we get to in this presentation. We're going to go into a few demos next to show you how you can up that skill set with the use of AI image creation, because it's definitely a daunting skill set. Like, a lot of people, when they want to get into the image content game, they think, okay, well, I got to like learn Photoshop and that's complicated, or I have to learn how to craft images and I'm not an artist and I don't know how to design images from scratch. Or you think, hey, I got to get into video editing now. And so what we're going to show is that AI can get you quite a bit of the way there into that skill set, and then help you to improve your convincing of others, your presentations, so that your audiences can retain that information for longer, and then also just improve your overall skill set. So let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at DALL-E 3 as the first demo that I share with you. And this is the one that a lot of people are talking about, that is with ChatGPT. And so it's called DALL-E 3. You may not have known this, but they actually use the name DALL-E from a combination of the surrealist artist Salvador Dali, who, you know, has all those paintings of like melting clocks hanging off of a tree. And then also it's a little bit inspired by Disney, by Walt Disney. And so the movie WALL-E, which was made by Pixar, that little robot is named after Walt Disney. The first name Walt, and then his middle initial for Elias is E. So WALL-E, that's Walter E. Disney. And that's where they combined DALL-E and WALL-E, and now it's called DALL-E. Anyway, so that's a little bit of background about how it got its name. Now you can get to this image creation tool through ChatGPT, but it is with not the free version of ChatGPT, but it's with the plus version. And so you would be paying $20 a month, but then you get that image creation. So from there, let's go ahead and hop over to our demo. And so you get into ChatGPT, and what you're going to see here is after you paid for your monthly membership, you should be seeing, this is kind of the landing page for ChatGPT 4.0, which is the paid for version. And so you can actually go ahead and put text right in here down in messaging ChatGPT, and it's going to generate the images there. What you'll also notice is if you want to start a new one, the new chat icon is up here to the left. You may also, with ChatGPT 4.0, there's also the ability to build GPTs where you can train it to focus in on certain topics or information that's more aligned with what you're trying to put out there. And so you notice I have this one here highlighted right now, Stack Tech IT. This is for blog creation. What we've done is actually built a GPT that we fed a ton of our blogs already, so it can analyze those and start to craft some info in the same tone. Now, what you're also going to see is down here some previous images that or content that I've been working on. So, but for the purposes of our demos, we're going to play in the space of knowing that we at SnapTech IT, we have an in-person workshop coming up where we want to have attendees learn all about Microsoft Copilot. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to type in a command here to get ChatGPT or DALL-E to create an image for us that we could possibly use on our Eventbrite page where attendees or interested parties would go to register for the event. So let's go ahead and put this in here. So we'll just command it, create an image for our Eventbrite page that promotes Microsoft Copilot hands on workshop in a boardroom. All right, so that's what we want to start with. I'm hitting Shift and Enter because I want to give it some more information. So I want to tell it how to design this. So design it, the participants in casual clothes, and only have 13 people in the picture. Now you might be wondering, well, hey Nathan, why do you want only 13 people in the picture? That's because we're gonna have 12 people who are participating and 1 instructor. And so we don't want it to create something that just, puts 500 people in the room. All right, so that's gonna be my instructions, and I wanna see how it's gonna create that. So I just hit enter, and you see it thinking. And because I put create an image, now you can see that it's starting to build that image. And we wanted to show you just how quickly this returns a result. Well, it said it gave us an error. Okay, so Ted, this is what we were talking about earlier, that you never know what's going to happen. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit this regenerate button, which is something that I wanted to show you anyway. And so we will see what takes place here as it designs this. And if it errors out again, don't worry. I did this the other day with the exact same description, and it did work. You can see it here. Okay, fantastic. So it's giving us some results here. And oh, wow, Ted, this is normally a shortcoming of the image creation, which is text on a screen from the description. Usually you can see it's a little wonky down here on this. I love too that it included an airplane because we're talking about Copilot. You might see that there's some other little wonkiness happening where you have like a man here in like a brown sports jacket, but it looks like his legs aren't really attached to his body and that the legs might be coming from, somebody else. And so a neat thing that I want to demo as well on this is, it's asking, is it better, worse, or the same? That's pretty good. But I also want to click on the image. And now what it does is it gives me a couple of options that you might not have noticed, obviously, because it's not down here. But this is a really, really cool feature because you might think, hey, I like this image. It's pretty good. Like the text kind of shows up all right, but I definitely don't want that plane there because it's just confusing. So you can actually select part of the image, highlight it, and then from there, you'll notice down here in the text, it's saying edit selection. And so I'm gonna go ahead and say remove plane, and that's it. And let's see what happens there. And by telling it to remove the plane and highlighting it, that helps narrow its focus down to what you actually want it to do. And so we're generating that image there. Yeah, normally the text always comes back really crazy and you can't even read it. All right, so look at that. Real quick, much easier than going through iterations with a designer who maybe they work on your team, maybe they work outside your company. Oftentimes we're using graphic designers even through Fiverr to design images for us. And so you can see that getting a second version of this happened much faster. Let's also, we'll do it again. We're going to select these legs and say, let's change the pants to brown. We want to try to get the clothes matching on this guy. and see if that works.
I'm on
Now,
pins
if
and
you don't,
needles.
oh, I know, this is so exciting. Uh, but also, you know, if it doesn't come out the way you like, hit redo. Try typing it in again. You can change it altogether. There we go. All right, it changed his pants. It made his legs fold a little weird or whatever, but hey,
Yeah.
it got us a lot closer to what we want. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to just download this. Let's do this. New folder, I'll put it in demo 2, and there we go. That way we can grab it in just a minute. All right. So after that, let's see. Yeah, the redo button, we did that. We edited an element. We saved it. All right. So we're going to come back to PowerPoint. I'm going to take you into our next demo. So that's a little bit about DALL-E image creation. That was a very kind of cartoon-esque or, you know, drawing of people. You could ask for it to be photo real if you wanted, and we'll show you a little bit about that with when we get into Canva now with Magic Studio. So you might be familiar with Canva already. Maybe you've heard the term before. Canva's been around, I think, since about 2013, and it's been a nice option for people instead of having to really build up their skill set in Photoshop to create social media images or presentation images. Canva really makes it quite simple to be editing images and create designs. And so the pricing on it is about 120. It's annually for one person, or 20 bucks a month. Now, you're going to notice I highlighted this. In the free version, you do get the AI generated writing and design, which I'll show a little bit about to you. But I would recommend that if you want to make things a little easier on yourself, and you do have a tiny bit of budget to go with, I mean, it's 120 bucks for a year, but getting Canva Pro introduces a couple additional tools that make it really easy for you to be more flexible with your designing. And so I'll show you what that is. One of those highlights is right there where it says about halfway down, remove backgrounds in a click. So that's a very important tool to be able to have at your disposal. All right, so let's jump over to Canva here. And what we're going to do is create a design. Now, remember, we wanted to create a Microsoft Copilot workshop. And what you're seeing is I've already worked on one here. And so I got that image from ChatGPT, from the DALL-E image creation, and laid it in. But I'm going to show you just where to go and how to do it from scratch. So from Canva, you want to create a design. And because we are, as I mentioned, we're going to be creating an image that goes onto our Eventbrite registration page that people can go to register. That's where we want the image to be. So I know from looking at the Eventbrite page what the custom size is. So this is really important, and Canva makes this super easy. But creating custom size and things like that in Photoshop or other design studios, that can sometimes be a bit of a challenge, because then you're dealing with also needing to know more about resolution and all that sort of stuff. So here they make it pretty simple. And so I know that it's going to be 2160 by, and I have my note here, 1080. So we can go ahead and just create a new design, custom size right there. And so it gives us what we're working with. Now we want to upload what we created from DALL-E. So let's go ahead and upload that. And so here it is under demo 2. We'll grab DALL-E. And so we're pulling that in, that image. And so it uploaded over here. We're going to grab it. Now what you're going to notice is, great, it's not the right size. Well, we can just enlarge it. and get it to where we want it to be across this layout. And I apologize, my GoToWebinar thing is getting in the way. We can also arrange it so that, you know, we don't want to show all of the ceiling. So maybe we cut it off right about here. And I'm going to also zoom out a bit so I can, again, stretch it a little bit more. So there we have it. We have our image. It's showing, you know, I asked for 13 people in the room. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You know, we got a couple extra, but it kind of conveys the message. And that's way better than one of the first times when I was creating it in DALL-E and I asked for 13 people and it came back with about 50. So the next thing we want to do is also include some information about our event so that when people see the image, they know exactly what we're talking about. So I love to just go in and get these elements, these shapes, click on one of those shapes, enlarge it so that I can put the text that I want across the image. You can see that when you get that shape in place, here's some of the settings for that shape. You can change the color. I like to make it black, and then you can also change the transparency on it by going over here and hitting the more button, hitting the transparency, and then I want to lower it a bit so you can kind of see through it just a little bit, get more of that image. And then we're going to go over to text. And you can choose, they have a bunch of different samples of the text that you can throw in there. So I always like using this one because it's so bold. And so we can put in there Microsoft Copilot workshop. And as you notice, oh man, it's not coming across all right. So you can stretch it out. You can change the font size to make it fit however you want. I have space in there that I don't want. So then you can set it up and edit it. So with that being said, then you can also go back through and change a few things. So let's say that I wanted to, after I get the title in there, the time of day, the date, everything like that, though, and I'm happy with it, and this is the right resolution, this is the right size for Eventbrite, well then I could share that, I could download it, and I could load it into Eventbrite. But let's say then I want to share that on LinkedIn. I want to be able to show people something in this same vein, the same style, but I don't know how to just create now a LinkedIn post. I don't want to rework every single step of this process. So that's where I encourage you to pay for the membership. Because if you see these little crowns beside it, that means that that is a feature that's available to you in Canva when you pay for the membership. And so let's just go to resize and magic switch. And I want to do it as a LinkedIn post. Now, you can see that these are some settings that are already popping up as suggested. You can also search for whatever resize options you want, but I already told you we want to do it as a LinkedIn post. So let's just click on it and we're going to continue. And now it's copying, and we want to not just copy and resize, but we also, yeah, let's click on that, copy and resize. It'll take a moment. There we go. We can open that. And here it gets us into the right shape, the right size. But what you might notice is, oh, great. Now, Nathan, it's cropping it in a way I didn't want. This is the beauty and the ease of doing this within Canva, because instead of just cropping it, it's making all of these elements still editable. And so you can see that each of these layers I can still move around. I can grab the image, I can move it around, I can shrink it back down to be within the crop to where I want it to be, and so that looks much better. And so then also we talked about adding images, and so let's go down to Magic Media. And so let's say like, okay, I like this for LinkedIn, but you know what? I want a real person to also be on the front. So design a happy person with a laptop with a solid white background. All right, so, and we want it to be, you can choose which style you want it in. If you want watercolor, dreamy, anime, filmic, or photo. We want it to be photo. And so let's go ahead and click on that. Let's generate that image. And the cool thing about this is it's going to give you 4 options right off the bat. And if you aren't happy with those 4 options, you can go ahead and click on redesign. And so let's wait and see what it puts up there. Now it's already, you saw that it's not following my exact directions. I wanted a plain white background, but that's okay. Let's use this guy. I like his smile. He looks like he's having a good time, and he looks like he's learning a lot in our workshop. So I want to put him there to draw people in. And the cool thing that we're going to do with this as well is I want to do the, let's see, where is it? Edit image. And I want to do, like I said, the background remover or magic eraser. Those are features that are available with the Premier or the higher version, the paid version. So let's go ahead. We have him selected. We go into here and let's remove that background because I want him to just be kind of floating there in the foreground. And there you have it. The background is removed, and now you have a happy guy who wants to attend this workshop. We can adjust where the text and everything goes. And now you have an image that is cropped, ready to go for LinkedIn. Now, obviously, I would clean this up a bunch more. I wouldn't want the Angelo Brewing to still be on there. I'd want to add the date, the time, the location, different things like that to generate interest. But I just wanted to show you what's out there, how the AI, and this is AI, this Magic Media is the AI that's built into Canva, so that you can see how you can get there a lot faster rather than, you know, putting this out to a graphic designer where you have to pay them, you have to wait a couple days, you might have to go through different versions of it to get to what you want. So those are the first couple of demos I wanted to share with you. I'm going to kick it over to Ted. Ted is going to be jumping into Microsoft PowerPoint with Copilot. And so I'm excited to turn it over to you, Ted. So let me go ahead and switch that over. There we go.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Nathan. And let me do this. Oops. Okay. I always want to see my wingman here. Like, so you got to like move some windows around so that we can see everything. So, okay, great. All right. So now we're going to change gears to PowerPoint. And if you think about it, in a given day, I mean, Nathan showed some really powerful tools for graphic design. You know, you probably, you know, somebody who's either an entrepreneur who's doing a lot of social media, or somebody who is wearing the marketing hat in an organization would be using a lot of the tools that Nathan just showed. Now, everybody else in the workplace, everybody else who's a knowledge worker, we commonly have to produce PowerPoint presentations. And as Nathan showed, images in PowerPoint are super compelling to make your argument or your presentation that much more professional. And we all spend a lot of time in PowerPoint. So we want to understand what are the capabilities of Microsoft Copilot, which is Microsoft's premier AI offering to the marketplace. What are the image capabilities in the Microsoft stack? And so we're going to take a look at PowerPoint really quick here. Before we do that, I do want to just give a quick mention. What are your choices for Copilot? You really have 2 choices as a user today. You can license Copilot Pro for $20 a month. One of the nice things about Copilot Pro is that it you can buy it on a month-to-month basis. So this is a way to kind of put a toe in the water, half a foot in the water, so to speak, financially, and start using Copilot today. What you miss is you miss a lot of Copilot integration with a lot of other really important apps in the workplace, like Teams. Teams and Outlook and that sort of thing. But if you want to use Copilot with the traditional Office suite, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook, you can go with Copilot Pro. What we're using a lot internally and what we're talking to our clients about a lot is Copilot for Microsoft 365. That's more expensive. It's $30 a month. I think Microsoft pretty smartly understands that one of the killer apps is really Copilot integrated with Teams. Once you get an organization really rocking on Teams, you start to get a little bit information overload. You start to be added to 20 projects, 7 teams. You've got 6 conversations going on with 6 different colleagues at once, and that's where Copilot really comes into play. Is it helps you kind of get to the bottom of information you're looking for or searching for, especially in Teams. So it's more expensive. It does require an annual subscription. This is the range of applications which are integrated today. So let's now hop into the live demo. And what I want to do is I think I'm going to close this presentation. I'm going to start a new presentation. I'm going to start a blank presentation. So first of all, here's the blank presentation, and I've got to move a lot of little windows around here, but let me do that. So what we're going to do first is, so I've got Microsoft 365, and we've got Copilot deployed, and I'm going to show how Copilot can help you with image creation in a big sort of way. So I'm going to just do the old. In last month's webinar, we actually polled our audience to give us a topic. I think people picked, do a presentation about visiting every Major League Baseball stadium in the country, and it did a pretty darn good PowerPoint presentation about that. But I'm going to do something different. I'm going to say create a presentation about digital marketing in the small and medium business market, let's say. Okay, and then I'm just going to ask it to create the presentation. So it's always fingers crossed.
So far, it's looking awesome. I like this first slide. Click to add title and subtitle. It just pulls people right in. What could it be? Here we go.
All right, here we go. So so now we have a PowerPoint, and I need to keep moving this little GoToWebinar window around. But here we have a presentation that looks pretty darn good. Digital marketing. What I'm going to do first is I'm just going to put it in PowerPoint, like show mode. And let's so we got digital marketing for small and medium businesses. It creates this nice visuals, email marketing, overview of digital marketing, images that are on point, SEO, so it incorporates all of these images right off the bat. I mean, so it's all about, I think we've seen a lot of people talk about it's not Microsoft Autopilot, it's Microsoft Copilot. You are still driving the bus, you're still flying the plane, but Copilot comes along and gets you to cruising altitude really quickly with this technology. And then what do we want to do from here? So the one thing I want to show you is that what's really important, and this is something that you'll run into, is when you create a presentation in any of the Office suite, you need to save your work into OneDrive or SharePoint. So that's an important thing you need to do, because if your content that you're working on with Copilot is not saved into OneDrive and SharePoint, I don't know why it's like this. Maybe they're going to fix it, or maybe they're going to evolve this functionality. But if you don't save it in OneDrive and SharePoint, you run into a lot of problems. Like Copilot can't really work on it unless the document's living in that repository. So that's just something. It's like a pro tip. I wanted to show you that. So that's what I just did. Is I took this PowerPoint and then saved it into my OneDrive folder. And then let's do a couple other things. So one of the things, for digital marketing that we really believe in is using a tool called Zoom Info. And I'm not seeing any content in here about Zoom Info. So what the next thing I'm going to do is I want to add a slide about that. So I'm going to say, add a slide about how to use Zoom Info and other business databases for digital marketing. So this is going to be a very common thing, right? So Copilot gets you to cruising altitude. You discover, well, I want to add in some extra content, but I want to keep using the tool. So let's see what happens here. Okay, Copilot, come on.
While we're waiting on Copilot there, I noticed that one of our attendees, Daryl, had his hand raised. Daryl, would you, if you don't mind, go ahead and drop your question down into the question section or the chat section here in GoToWebinar so we can take a look at what you're curious about. Thanks.
Yeah, I just also would love to, I think, Nathan, you're monitoring the Q&A log, I think. So if there are questions, go ahead and something went wrong. Okay, well, let's try. Okay, let's try one more time and keep it a little simpler. Add a slide showing how to use business databases for digital marketing. All right, let's try one more time. So let's just have it add a slide. It looks like it's having an easier time with this one. Let's hope that's the case.
Yeah, and this is the experience right now with these AI technologies. It's not going to just miraculously do all the work 100% effective in the snap of a finger. There is a little bit of waiting involved. There is a little bit of asking for it to regenerate or try again or edit or change. And so the story isn't, like you said, the Microsoft name is perfect for that because it's not autopilot, it's Copilot. It's coming along beside you. And that's what we're trying to demonstrate too with all of these AI image generators or editing tools, is that gets you part way there, a majority of the way there. And if you're also not an absolute perfectionist where it has to be 100% just what you had in mind, it can really get you there a lot faster. And so cut down on the number of steps it takes, cut down on the time it takes. So what are you seeing there, Ted, that went
so
wrong again?
it seems I stumped it. I've stumped it with this particular slide edition. So let's move on to a couple other things we wanted to show. The other thing I want to remind you is that baked into PowerPoint is the tool called, and this tool's an AI capable tool that Microsoft has had for a while. And I just want to remind you, after you activate Copilot, you still have access to Designer. And so Designer is a way that will give you alternatives in your presentation to, change the layout of a slide. So like I particularly like this one, let's go with that. And so really on the fly, you can really hop into different different images and really quickly, adapt the content. Let's go ahead and save that. And so really the whole point here is just the speed with which uh, PowerPoint with Copilot, with the image library that's included, with Designer, gets you like 80% of the way, 90% faster than you would have traditionally been able to crank out a presentation and get you started. But again, it really requires a lot of fine tuning to, make something that you feel like is really your own and is something that has your own imprint on it. One last thing, let's go back to Copilot, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Nathan. So the one thing I'm noticing here is this presentation doesn't have an agenda slide. I want to add an agenda slide. So let's see here. So let me just do this. Let me change topic. Okay. Oops. No. I muffed it by like putting in one little character, and now it's trying to digest what that character says. Please let me stop it. All right. I've really put it through it for a loop, it looks like. Here, let's try this. See if we can re-invoke it. Okay, I'm just gonna start over here. I'm just gonna say add an agenda slide. Okay, let's try that. Final step on this presentation. Just as a refresh, it's built all the images. It created a compelling presentation, and now we have used Designer to put our imprint on, the look and feel, and now we've just added a an agenda slide. So with that, let me turn things back over to Nathan. Nathan, I think you can take control, right?
All right, yeah, let me, okay. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. All right, thanks for your patience there. Okay. We got a lot of windows, a lot of things to show you, so there we go. All right, so the next thing that we're taking a look at, another part of AI image creation is not just static images or still images for social media posts or for use in PowerPoint presentations, but then also getting into the realm of video. And video is very, very compelling to tell your story. And so the tool that I selected to show a little bit about from AI video generation is Choppity. So choppity.com is where you could go to get it. There is a free version. It has a little bit of limitations. You can only do a certain number of AI clips. You can only load a certain number of minutes of video content. And then it's also going to include the Choppity watermark on that video. Otherwise, you can choose a premium version or a pro version. And so the version that we're going to be looking at today is the pro version that I have selected. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump over to Chrome and get to the Choppity site. And so this is what you're seeing is the window where if you're already a member, this is where you would get to. And you can see that I already had a couple of projects on the go, but I wanted to show you this window to show just how easy it is. And we won't actually do it because it takes, a handful of minutes. And so I don't want to just sit here while we wait for the status bar to update. But you can see here that you can click to upload an MP4 or MP3 file, or you could paste in your YouTube link. From there, it's going to build out an entire project. And so this is based off of an hour-long webinar that we did, I think, last month. and then I loaded it in here. And so what we're going to do is go in and see how Choppity had automatically broken up the video into multiple shorter videos. And I want to show you what that looks like. Now, when we look at the Choppity tool, there's different kind of levels of AI video creation. There is the level of AI video creation that from scratch you can put in a description of a video you want AI to generate for you. Those are different tools. There's also the possibility of taking a video and putting it into AI editing where it outputs a final version for you. It could even give you a viral rating, like how likely is this video to go viral on social media, different things like that. That's not what we're looking at because those elements kind of take away some of your control over the final output. And so that's one of the things I do like about Choppity is that it'll break it down for you into suggested edits, and then you can still go in and tweak it to get it just how you want. And so that's great because then you don't have a video kind of stopping mid-sentence. You can also do a little more editing. And so what you're going to see is Choppity went through and it broke down, it grabbed this first video and they summarize it. They titled it using Excel and PowerPoint to enhance slide formatting. They tell you it's about 50 seconds long. It shows you the quote from the script. It's auto-generating the script that was actually used in the video. And then you can go in and edit it. So we're going to scroll down and you're going to see a lot of these are widescreen because I've already gone in and I've started to edit those videos and I've changed the aspect ratio. Whereas normally it's coming back in this aspect ratio of, you know, the vertical phone, because a lot of people, that's what they're using this for, is to create social media videos that people are going to experience on their phone. So I want to go into this one, which I already started working on, and I'm going to show you some of the changes that I made real quickly. So let's go ahead and edit. And again, this comes from our webinar last month where we were taking a look at Copilot. And in this video clip, what we want to highlight is the cost of Copilot. And so it's, well, it's telling me I got a bit of slow internet speed, so apologize for that, but it's going to bring up the preview. And what you'll see is it is highlighting based on the clip. So this is the timeline here of the video, and it'll highlight the text that's going in that clip. And so if I click on this, you can see that the script is highlighted there. You can also see, like I was saying, it auto-generated this edit, and it highlighted and cut after the word so at the beginning of another sentence. And I don't like that. I wouldn't want it to automatically output that. And so I can actually go in and I can drag my cursor back, and now it's going to edit it and cut out that word so. That's very, very helpful. And so I also want to show you, this is where you would go to change from portrait to square to landscape, depending on where you're publishing it. Something else I want to show you is you can actually jump in here. If you're like, oh, I don't even know where to begin to edit this sort of thing, well, you can actually click this show tutorial, and a Choppity like 2 or 3 minute video will come up and give you some tips and tricks and guide you through editing. Additionally, you can not only trim the clips, but you can crop what you want to show in the image. So maybe I wanted to zoom in more on Sean and Ted here, you know, and then I could add the crop box. I could split this scene so I could cut between the two different cropped images. And so I wanted to show you that. And then also here's something interesting. Let's pretend that Ted cannot handle his tongue when he is co-hosting webinars with me, and he says some bad words. Well, I can actually go in and see the transcript from this clip. I can choose to bleep out the word that he has. I can change the volume of the bleep. The text, as you can see, is automatically generating over the script. And so let's see that. There's an iOS app, and you see that the text is all here. So Ted, were you able to hear that audio as I'm sharing this?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well, I apologize. So you won't hear it, but it's as simple as choosing whatever word you need to bleep out, highlighting it, and then from there, if you play it back, it's going to bleep that word. And then it'll put the text up there. So if we kind of take a look at this, go back a little bit, there you go. So you can see that it bleeped out the word with what we chose here, and you can choose the original or you can choose what you're bleeping out. So got a borderline inappropriate there. However, it saves you in case you do need to edit at that level, and so you may not want an AI video tool that takes you all the way there without controls. Choppity is a neat one to consider so that you can maintain a little more granular level of detail, but it gets you so far to the end goal, which is, then it's captioned. It highlights throughout the video as the speakers are speaking. And so anyway, very helpful tool. So I'm going to switch back to PowerPoint. That's the end of our demos today. We do want to invite you to next month's webinar. We're still kind of on this kick of how can you automate more? How can you save more time? And we've been looking at AI. Well, next month we invite you to learn about robotic process automation and what that can do to drive efficiencies in your business. Ted, we got just a couple seconds left. Do you want to share a little bit more about RPA, robotic process automation, as we close out?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I think in the past couple months, we've been showing a lot of tools that normally kind of knowledge workers are going to be using to turbocharge their day. I think if you think about automation at a higher level, companies will often have routine business processes that are the same all the time, or you've got really well-defined processes to do things, but you want to take some people out of the process. You want to connect workflows together so that more things happen automatically, and there's you're benefiting from benefiting from automation, which is less labor, less human time, faster response, faster results. And that's what robotic process automation is all about. It's a technology that allows you to kind of programmatically go into any process in your business and basically map out how to automate it. And we use a host of tools in our business to do this today. We're helping clients do this in their business. I mean, the larger the company, the more likely RPA tools are in place today, but this technology is rapidly waterfalling down into the SMB market and can be used as a way to really help you boost productivity, control your labor costs, deliver a better outcome to your customers or clients because you're able to serve them better or get back to them better or be more responsive to their needs. That's what RPA is all about. And we're going to have Carl Bickmore, our CEO, and Jared Brantley, who's one of our experts on RPA and automation, show us real world examples of how RPA can be used in a business setting today. So hopefully you're able to tune in with us next month, and hopefully you've been enjoying all of the generative AI content we've been producing lately. Nathan, great job on the demos. And we look forward to seeing everybody on one of our next webinars. And we're just out of time. So Nathan, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you everybody for attending. And as always, you'll get the recording of this webinar in about 24 hours. So thanks for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye
Ted.
Now. Bye now.